Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. I hope you all have a wonderful day today. I'm very happy that I get to talk to you guys on Valentine's Day, also because the theme of today's video is going to be somewhat in spirit of Valentine's. I'm going to talk about love today and the proof that life is loving you. And I just wanted to start off by saying that if you do not have a Valentine today, someone to celebrate with, just take the opportunity today to be extra loving towards yourself. Even though I do have a partner, I always see Valentine's Day as an opportunity to pamper myself, to take care of myself, to love myself. Just know that that love, the emotion of love, the energy of love is the antidote to any fear and any sadness. And love is like when you're in a dark room and fear is the darkness, love is the thing that brightens your room again. And so I just wanted to take the spirit of Valentine's Day today to talk about the power of love and how by focusing on things that prove that you are loved, you actually can heal and feel a lot better, no matter what you're struggling with. So the best way to explain how powerful love can be is to understand, first of all, that love is an energy that we feel, just like fear is an energy that we feel. And whatever emotion we feel colors our perception of life. So if I'm feeling fear, that fear is literally coloring my perception of how I look at life and making life look darker. And if I am feeling love, then love is coloring my perception to make life look a lot more brighter and colorful. So the power of the emotions that you can tap into and feel on your perception of life is really amazing. And a lot of people that are struggling with anxiety or even the existential anxieties, they're so focused on changing their thoughts that they don't realize how much more powerful it is to actually change your emotion first. And I guess the first piece of evidence that life is loving you is the fact that love is always an option. You always can tap into love. Always. Sometimes it's more difficult than other times, but love is always there. There's a saying that love is always loving you, and that's true. Is love, the energy of love is a choice that you decide to tap into. It's a choice to focus on the things that you love, to focus on loving other people, to focus on the people who love you and the things that love you. And that choice to focus on love is always there. So if I was God and I was creating a world, then if I truly loved the people in this world, I would always give them the option of love to feel, because they always have that choice. And part of life is about growing and evolving. And so it can't just be taken for granted. Also because without love's opposite, we can't know what love is. We experience everything in life through the experience of its opposites. So God also put fear and sadness in front of us, because without those emotions, we would never be able to understand what love really is. And life wants us to experience love. Otherwise, it would not give love as an emotion. It would just make us suffer, right? So love is always there. Love is always an option. And it can be as simple as just closing your eyes and thinking of someone you love, or closing your eyes and focusing on the fact that dogs exist. Which brings me to the second piece of proof of why you know that life is loving you, is because dogs exist. And this may sound stupid, but I think I mentioned this little point in my previous video on reassuring truths about existence. But the thought that dogs are created and put in this life, and they are so sweet and so loving and so kind, makes me think, how on earth would it be possible for God to be evil and put loving, sweet dogs on the planet? If you're a cat person, you could say the same thing about cats or horses or whatever your animal of choice is. But if you look at animals and the animals closest to us, there's just so much love present. They are so kind, so sweet. And I feel like that's a big piece of proof that life is loving you, is because when I'm crying, this morning I was crying because I fell down the stairs. Yeah, sad story. and I'm crying, and my dog automatically comes up to me and starts licking me and starts being super kind. I didn't tell him to do that. That's a dog living in my house choosing to love me. And so it brings me to the third point, which is there is always someone or something waiting to love you. Always. A dog, an animal, a person, your parents, if you don't have a good relationship with your parents, your friends, someone at the grocery store who truly has a kind heart, you will never, ever, ever be unloved. Never. There's always going to be someone loving you. Sometimes we just don't realize it, or we don't appreciate it, or we expect even more from the people around us, that we are only focusing on the lack and why it seems like they don't love us. But there is always someone out there waiting to love you, ready to love you, and willing to love you. And if you don't agree with that, go to a dog shelter and just cuddle with a dog, and I'll promise you that you'll realize that that's true what I'm saying. The fourth piece of evidence of why you know that life is loving you is you are provided for. We are living in a world where, of course, depending on where you live, and I am aware that I'm very privileged with me living in Belgium and being very safe in my country right now. But if you look globally at the world, everything that is necessary for you to be alive is provided to you by life. Food grows from the earth. We don't have to consciously grow it. It is an automatic process that automatically happens for us. We don't even have to provide the water to feed the earth to grow the vegetables, because it just falls out of the sky. And how does it fall out of the sky? Because life has created this whole recycling system of water and sunlight and this whole system just so that we can effortlessly be here and breathe and eat. And it can be, you can truly feel this. Like what I always do is if I'm on a walk and I look at the trees, I'm realizing this tree is literally making oxygen for me. It is literally filtering the air for me to breathe. And that makes me feel very loved. Or if I'm walking past a field of corn or something, I'm thinking this corn is just spontaneously growing out of the earth so that people can eat. How wonderful is that? And I'm not saying by this video that there's no negative things about life, because I'm sure there's people watching this that think, yeah, Robin, but how do you explain this happening and this bad stuff happening? I'm not saying that life is only about love and only about happiness and only about rainbows and whatever. But what I'm trying to prove here is that it is also not the opposite. It's also not only misery and suffering and only evil. And when we're in fear, we think very black and white. And so therefore, we often forget to look at the beautiful things because our brain's like, no, life's dangerous. It's not safe for us to be here. And so we skip all the good stuff. And I think the way of trying to live in life, this is how I live my life, is realizing that life is both good and bad. And the reason why it's both good and bad is because it's impossible to experience the good without the bad. And so the fifth thing, and I'm going to finish the video on that today, the fifth piece of evidence of why you can know and trust that life is loving you is because everything that is on the other spectrum, so the bad, every kind of struggle or pain is completely capable of transforming you for the better. There is no pain that you can't grow from, and pain is the biggest fuel for our growth. So if I look personally at my life, I have had quite a good life. I can't complain. I haven't starved. I haven't suffered super intensely. At least not physically. I've struggled a lot with my mental health, and I think you guys can agree that DPDR is one of the worst things to ever struggle with. But if I look at the things in my life that I am the most grateful for now, things that happened that at the time of them happening, I thought this is the worst thing ever. I'm never going to recover from this. I always ended up learning so much from it, and it always ended up getting me to a happier place. So the way I think about this is, even the painful things in life that people use to say, oh, that's proof that life's not loving you, looking back, it is tough love. Tough love is the same as no love. If a parent is punishing a child because it wants to teach them something, does that mean the parent doesn't love the child? No, of course not. We need pain, we need setbacks, we need tough things from happening in life to learn. Pain is the biggest learning lesson, biggest learning school, and life wants us to learn. It wants us to grow. It wants us to evolve. It wants us to feel love and happiness and get close to ourselves. And frankly, the only way to truly get there is through pain. So life is loving you because it is providing for you, because it provides so much opportunity for love. Love is always loving you. You can always tap into that love. So you have that proof. And the other side is that sometimes there's pain, sometimes there's suffering, but there's always something to learn from. And I perceive that personally as another piece of proof that life really has my best interest in mind. So to finish this video off, I want to add one more 6 point of why you can trust that life is loving you. And this is going to sound corny, but I want you to trust me on my word when I say that I love you guys, truly. No matter what your past is, no matter what you've done, no matter how long you've been in the state, no matter how you think about yourself, you are deserving of love simply because you are here, because we are all in this experience together. And I just want to say that I do love you. Even if I've never seen you before, I'm sending you love right now. So if you need any piece of proof today that someone is loving you, just know that you right there is thinking, no one's loving me or I'm not loved. I do love you. And just think about that. Think about me sending you love today if you feel like no one's loving you. And I do not care what your story is, who you are. To me, anyone deserves love. And so I love you. So I want to end that Valentine's Day video on that. I love you guys so much. I hope you have a beautiful day and I will speak to you next week. Bye.